Alrighty. How are we going?
Welcome back.
Great, bloody great.
Welcome back.
We have a guest.
From the ad break that didn't exist.
We don't know what they were doing. They might have been doing something else.
They might have been watching an ad break.
Yeah.
There's been like some time between the last podcast they watched and this podcast, so welcome back.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a
Fair
guest.
point.
We have
Alright,
a guest
fair
with
enough.
us today. Stu, would you like to introduce yourself, Mareya?
Hi, my name's Mareya. That's it.
Right.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all of
I
it.
don't have a
And that's
surname.
today's podcast.
See you guys next time.
Nah. So, Mareya, you
Thanks for
first
having me.
came through here at the social club. Was that the first time you came in?
Yeah, it would have been like
Number two.
3 months ago now.
Second social club.
Second
I think it
social
was.
club.
The second one.
Yeah.
so.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think so. I don't know.
It was
Maybe
dope.
it was the third.
Yeah. That's
No,
what
I
came
think,
with
yeah.
Cam.
And it's been awesome. Then you came in, you did a live session here today with us,
That was
with Liam,
amazing.
who's been in
Thank
before.
you. Yeah, he was
Liam
and-
Latoa.
great.
Yep. And
Yeah.
since that first social club, you seem to just continue to hang around here.
I just love it. I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
You guys
We love
can't
having you
get rid
down.
of me. Yep. No, it's a great place.
You won the raffle the first time
yeah.
round.
No, it's
That's
the second
right.
time
Oh, the
actually.
second time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
When me
yeah.
and Jade came down and he got the coaching.
You got artist
Yeah,
coaching.
that was
Yeah,
sick.
you want some recording.
That
So
was
everyone
awesome.
out
We
there,
did a
who's looking-
session.
Yeah, anyone out there who's looking for free recording, come to our social
Yes.
event and we give stuff away.
It's dope.
Yep.
It's dope. I can vouch for that.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about your musical history.
Yeah, tell us a bit about
Or
yourself.
Life in general.
Take us on a word journey.
It's been literally a lifetime. Like I'll try to. I can talk a lot of schmack, so let's try to.
Just do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. Where did it start? I'd say first memory of like knowing I wanted to be an artist was like probably when I saw Michael Jackson. Actually, I was like in the lounge. I think I was like 3 years old, and he was like playing a massive concert on the TV, and I was just like right up to the screen, like
That's it.
I was like, I just pointed at my parents, and I was like, I was trying to tell them, I was like, that's what I want to do. That's it. And I was just sold from then. And I think I just like soaked it up, and it's so funny.
Especially,
I
that's
love
what I
him.
want to do. It's like, I had a similar thing, but I was just pointing at Iron Chef.
I like knives.
Oh my god.
On a
it's
completely
amazing.
separate note, we'll come back to that.
It's
but
so
we,
good.
we
That's
need to
so
do a whole
good.
podcast on Davey's mind
Yes.
because that thing is so
Yes,
bonkers.
You'll
please.
never understand
Can I be
it.
a fly on the wall for that one?
Yes.
I really want to hear that.
Anyway,
First
let's get back to this. So you see MJ,
Yeah.
this monster performer, and especially like then in the early 90s,
Yeah,
I'm assuming,
imagine
like,
what that would do to a child. You're
yeah,
just like,
when
oh my
he's
god,
at
this
his
is
peak,
incredible.
this is huge.
Okay, that was.
You know what?
That was probably
soon.
I'm
too soon.
refraining
Too soon.
so hard right now, okay?
Too soon.
There's so many jokes that I could be making right now.
Oh my god.
Leave it.
Anyway,
Leave
Dave.
it.
In his mind, right? It's a good one. Yeah, and I think as well, my dad used to play guitar, and my whole family's like musical, obviously, being like part Māori and from New Zealand. Everyone plays guitar and harmonizes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember my dad like always playing guitar, and when I was about 4 years old, was like I wrote my first song.
4?
Yeah.
How?
My dad was playing chords, and I like
I still
ran
can't
up.
write. Like words, I mean.
I wrote a chorus. I think I still remember it, but like it was pretty shit, obviously.
I like crayons.
It was
Crayons
about-
are great.
It wasn't
amazing,
crayons,
though,
about
at
flowers,
4.
but close. Almost
You
got
can
there.
draw flowers with crayons.
That's pretty impressive.
Thanks
But,
for that, Stu.
yeah, it was crazy. Like my dad was just playing guitar. I just ran up to him and was like, "Oh my god, cool!" And I just like started hitting it, and he was like, "Okay, cool. So she's gonna drive this drums. I'm just gonna keep playing the chords." And I remember this so well. Like I think it's like probably the most vivid first musical memory I have. And I was like, "Oh, cool!" Like I'm like collabing with my dad. I just started singing this chorus about flowers.
That's sick.
Sick.
He was just like,
Nice.
okay, she's a songwriter. Cool. And that was
Yeah.
it. And I
Nice.
just
So-
always wrote like little ideas, and then I finally started when I was like 13 to actually write like full pop songs. Because my sister actually was like probably one of the biggest influences for me, because she was an incredible songwriter. Still is actually really fucking good. But yeah, I just grew up watching my sister write songs. And
Older
play
sister?
guitar.
Is she in New Zealand? or-
Older, yeah, she's
She's
in
still
New
in
Zealand.
New
yeah.
I was like,
But
do a
she doesn't
collab.
want to chase it as a career though, unfortunately. But
Which is
hopefully-
fine.
Yeah, which is fine, because like one day I'm just put an album out of all their songs and be like,
Yeah.
too bad.
Yep.
They're too good to like stay
Yep.
hidden. But
Dope. Well, I mean,
yeah.
that's even coming from a family that's supportive in music and your dad's
Huge.
playing guitar. It's kind of like it just nurtures
Oh,
what
yeah.
comes naturally, I guess.
So, like, lucky. A lot of people don't have that, so.
No one in my... Oh, I played in a band with my brother, but no one in my band... no one in my family is musical.
Musically
Like,
inclined. Yeah,
even,
wow.
like, now... My nan was
That's so
a
cool,
drummer
though.
for the
It's
pipe
interesting.
band in Melbourne Pipe Band. So she
Yeah,
was the
wow.
snare drummer.
Right, that's cool.
Yeah. And I never heard her play. But anyway.
Yeah, none of my family
That's my close...
musically...
Oh, Mum played piano, actually. Anyway.
Yeah, none of my family
That's fair.
musically inclined. And then even there's the opposite. Like when we had Darlington and his brother on the podcast, like from their background, they had to actively hide doing music in the house. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like
Parents
you
wouldn't
couldn't
let
do
them.
it. Yeah.
That's
Oh
a
my God.
crazy story.
Yeah.
Check out that podcast.
Yeah, everyone.
I think episode 8 it was.
Yeah.
Like, I
the
remember hearing
Project
about
Leaders.
Katy Perry's, like, upbringing, how she was super, like, Christian and couldn't even watch MTV or listen to, like, Queen. Like, I think she discovered Queen through her friend, like, in her car or something.
Right. It's like
Crazy.
almost famous.
Oppressive.
Imagine
being
what that would have
too
felt like for her, though. Imagine, like,
Oh,
being
yeah.
suppressed from that and then hearing Queen. Like, damn, like, that's the way to break in. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
You
fucking way to
wouldn't
break
have a
in.
reference
Yeah,
point for it.
you wouldn't know.
No.
You would only know like church music, right?
Yeah.
Like so
Gospel, church.
hearing that and Queen doesn't sound like church music at all.
Hell no.
So you'd be like you just wouldn't you'd think it's foreign. It'd be
Yeah.
like us I mean, weird reference, but it'd be like us hearing like Chinese music for the first time.
yeah.
And you'd
Or
be
maybe,
like
like, when I heard Primus for the first time, I was
Primus,
like,
yeah,
holy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, what
and
the
that was
fuck is
live.
this?
Yeah.
First time I ever discovered them was
No
live.
shit.
I walked
When-
into, like, them playing at Big Day Out, and I was
oh
like,
yeah. It's
Right.
whack,
Oh my
right? And he's a
God.
fucking weird looking bloke as well.
so cool.
Yeah,
though.
they're
I
a
love
unique
it.
band.
Yeah. They're
What was
amazing.
everyone's first album then? That first like.
Oh, I can answer
Oh
this.
my
Yeah, go for
God.
it.
My
No.
dad bought me Hey Stupid by Alice Cooper.
Oh my God. That's
Pretty, I think he was trying
Wow.
to get
he was
something.
trying to be funny, but he also loved Alice
Succeeded.
Cooper.
Succeeded.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about
Hey
that?
Stupid.
What about you? What was your first like? Because like you know when you're like a little kid, you don't really
wanna know
know
what
like all the
yours
genres
is.
and
Yeah.
shit.
First CD, I think I either got it from like a relatives, my dad or my uncles or something. I'd scored like a Michael Jackson Thriller CD, and I remember that was when like Thriller,
Hell yeah.
the film clip came out.
Wow.
And I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
fuck, this is sick, because that film clip was
Oh
mad.
God, that's amazing.
But-
Wait, no, that came out in like 89.
Oh, well, I saw it in like 90s.
Yeah.
Well,
His-
to me,
history-
it was when it first
History,
came out.
1995 was when History came out. Sure, it
Thriller.
wasn't History? History
No,
was
no,
the
no.
double CD.
The film.
The film
Oh,
clip came out in
maybe.
'89. Yeah.
History was the one with him on as a statuette. That was.
Nah, it
I
wasn't
went and
that
saw
one.
him on the 96 tour at the MCG.
Yeah.
Did you?
That was
That's,
an
that's
experience.
big.
Jesus
no
Christ, you're old.
way.
I'm old.
But even
I was
first-
3 when that happened.
I've seen the Stones.
First
Yeah.
CD that was like that was mine, that was my property, was Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, Backstreet's
Oh my
Back.
God.
Hell
You
yeah.
started the
Buy-
other night?
I used to always spend my money on Hit Machine. Hit Machine and
Oh, yeah.
100% hits.
Oh my
my dad was
God.
like,
So-
what the fuck are you doing? But, excuse me. That being said, those
I'll be
CDs,
next, don't worry about it.
Oh,
I always gravitated towards like the alternative tracks like Blink and Jamiroquai and like,
Yes, I love
you know, there was the
Jamiroquai.
pop
Oh my
stuff
God.
like
Yeah.
Spice Girls and Backstreet
Britney
Boys and stuff like
Spears,
that.
Christina Aguilera.
But
Yeah,
I'm a
I
genie
love-
in a bottle.
I love Britney.
that was after my...
Makes me
tell.
feel things.
yeah.
She makes
I don't know
everyone
what this
feel
is.
things.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I would
I-
always gravitate
Yep.
towards the weirder sort of stuff. Like,
And I even
always
like
liked
the Now CDs, Now Volume 1 and 2.
Yep, now hits.
Yep.
Speaking of that, it's my dad worked in radio for like 25 years or something, in like
Yeah.
commercial radio. So
Sweet.
he would bring home, that was probably one of the biggest things, I think, for me. Like, he'd bring home hit CDs,
CDs.
every month, and he'd be like, sponge it, sponge it, sponge it. And I'd just be in my room, like,
That's
Yeah.
sick.
yeah. So I think
That's
just,
awesome. So you're
all those-
exposed to lots of different
yeah.
music.
And I'd sit at the radio with dad as well.
Yeah, right. And I guess if you like your dad's in radio and broadcasting, like you're going to learn an appreciation for music and the art form and these artists just because you're watching someone who
Totally.
is
What was
currently
that?
appreciating
What was
Yeah.
that like?
Yeah.
It was really cool. Like it's funny actually, like I was thinking about it last night because I knew we were going to be talking about all this stuff today. And I was like, shit, man, like I was really lucky. I had a really cool childhood, a really rockin' childhood. Like my mum on the side of her job would like manage bands and she was like the music director for the Bay Plenty Music Awards in New Zealand. Like,
Yeah, wow.
and is good friends with a lot of like incredible artists from New Zealand. Like I remember Eddie Rayner from Split Ends was like a good family friend of ours, and he was the first guy that I got to record with. Like when you're 15 and like the first person you get to do a demo with, like for free is like Eddie Rayner and his like huge mansion, and you're just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck am I doing
Yeah,
here? There's
yeah,
pictures
yeah.
of him with like Paul McCartney on the wall, and you're like,
yeah.
okay, yeah, this is not a dream.
Sick.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I was really
So
lucky.
you were born into it.
I was born
This is
into
always
it,
what you're
yeah.
gonna do.
And like I remember going to some of his Christmas parties, and like Neil Finn was there,
Yeah.
and I'm just like chilling, like, be
So
cool,
sick.
man, be cool.
Yeah.
And I remember like asking him.
Did you
I
have
think,
an awareness of like
yeah,
what
I
that
knew.
was?
Yeah, I had full awareness of what
Yeah.
was going on, but because of that awareness, I sponged it.
Right.
I was like, as a kid, I'd be like just observing everything, going, okay, so this is what happens, and like this is what they do, and like, yeah, I just was such a sponge. I just thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We didn't get to
Yeah.
what was your first CD.
Yes.
No, I
oh
was-
my god.
no, we've moved
Come
past
on,
it. It's
come
fine.
on.
Yeah, I was kind of like almost
Come
like,
on.
wouldn't
So
come back.
I got Ricky Martin's album
Yes, I
for
was
my
in love
first
with
album.
him.
And I'm pretty
Ricky.
sure from
Yeah.
that moment on, my mum just assumed I was gay. Until like I brought home a girl, and mum was like, oh, okay. That was when I was like,
But
22.
you're into Ricky Martin.
I love Ricky so much. Oh my god, I actually
had some
thought I was
bangers.
gonna
He
marry
was
him.
living
He had
the
some-
Vida Loca.
He was living the Vida Loca.
Oh, he
Vida
was.
Loca.
And mum tried to get me a
He was
concert
hot.
ticket when he played in Melbourne.
Maybe your mum
And
just wanted to go see Ricky Martin, dude.
I think
Maybe.
mum kind of wanted to see Ricky Martin,
think,
but she was like, I'm sorry,
a
they're
lot of
sold out.
mums of the
I don't blame
90s and
her.
2000s
Yeah.
really wanted to see
I
Ricky
did something
Martin.
real funny.
My mum
Like-
was like, "What the fuck, Mariah? Come on."
For Christmas one year, I bought Mum the Human Nature album because I think I wanted it.
Oh my god, I
and
love
she was like,
it.
"Thanks."
I think my brother did the same thing.
yeah.
He
That's
like
so
bought the
cute.
Human Nature one and then ripped it like immediately. I was like,
Human Nature, you guys into them?
I saw him live.
ooh, I wasn't that
Do
into
you know?
them.
Do you know? I saw
What was
Savage
that
Garden.
like?
This is like all in the span of like 2 or 3 years. I saw Michael Jackson, Human Nature, and I can't remember whether it was
Hanson?
and Savage Garden.
Oh my god,
But-
I love him.
And
Did-
As
did
Yet
love that.
played one of the shows, and I think it was with Savage Garden. As Yet. They've got this song
Yeah.
Last Night. It's such a... All of their songs are about sex. All of the
Yeah.
songs. And they had like... They got like a chick on stage and she like sat on one of the dude's laps and I had no idea what was going on.
Oh
And
my
all the
god.
girls are screaming.
How
and
old are
shit.
you at this
That's
point?
so funny.
10.
What year
12.
are we 90s?
That's a lot
Yeah,
for a
no,
10-year-old.
90s.
I'd be like, whoa.
Like
Yeah.
late 90s? When Hanson was around?
So 96 was the Michael Jackson one, and I think Human Nature and Hanson were both like 1998.
Wow.
I never saw Hanson.
Was that like Hollywood
seen Hanson
moment
once.
where like the camera
Have
zooms
you?
out and you're like, I'm
funny,
gonna
actually.
be
It's a
a
good story.
rock star. And then it's like cut to 30 years later and you still live with your parents and shit.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was my life.
Wow, Ricky Martin. I wish that was my first one. That's
so-
great.
Hold on. I just need to reiterate to everyone listening, we will have an entire episode on
Yes,
David.
please.
It's coming. The David episode is coming.
Be there.
Well, if you watched our last episode, we got an insight into how he
How he's-
perceives
yeah.
reality.
Oh my god. I
Even
need
for
to
anyone
go
who
and
missed
watch
it, go
this
back to
part.
the last Lounge Room podcast.
What happened last episode?
He's the
Tivoli,
face now.
Tivoli Gardens.
Tivoli Gardens is... What? Do you know what the Tivoli Gardens
Oh,
are?
God.
Hold on, we're not reopening
no,
this.
can you
Put it
please
away.
let me?
Put it away.
Just
Put
watch
it
the
away.
Okay,
podcast.
all
Put
right,
it away.
all right. I'll
Last
tune into it,
podcast,
yeah.
Lounge Room podcast.
Fucking
See what
let me
David's talking
express my
about.
emotions.
Intense.
While we're going, just to digress, what was your first concert then? First like concert
Well, it
experience?
ends. Yeah. The
Right, so
millennium.
that first
Yeah.
On the millennium, literally, my first ever
Turning
live
2000.
yeah.
Yep.
That was like,
That's cool.
and
Where-
that shit still feels like a dream. I'm like, I don't even know what that was.
Yeah, there's no like
Crazy.
Yeah.
the memories that you have from when you're that young. They don't feel the same as memories from like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
They
But
don't-
like, damn, it's a cool
like
thing
me
to
being
do.
at the Michael Jackson concert. I'm like, I remember it, and I remember he's like he lip synced heaps, and I remember the intro because it was like this roller coaster shot. But that's all, and it wasn't. I
Yeah,
can't
wow.
remember being there. You know.
Yeah.
So it'd be similar.
Right.
I remember Marilyn Manson playing of 2000, midnight 2000.
No
He got the
way.
spot on MTV in their TRL office
Yeah.
in New York. The Sum 41 played, and Marilyn Manson played at midnight, and there's a huge fucking uproar because they're like, you can't let Marilyn Manson play at midnight. And he did. And
Yeah,
it was
why?
well, because he was
Fucking wankers.
in the 90s. He was so controversial.
Yeah, I know.
It was so controversial because
Wow.
guns happened and it was his fault somehow.
Yeah, yeah. So we might be skipping ahead. Take us back if we are. But when did you
good.
move to Australia?
Fuck. 5 years ago,
Right.
November. Yeah,
So
coming
that's
up.
and how old were you then?
Crazy. 23. Yeah.
Davey's
So-
just doing some quick maths in his
I
head.
just
So
turned
you're-
23.
You're 12?
Not minus,
Man,
plus.
I'm really gonna get that guy's head. What the fuck?
So
Stu's not allowed within 300 feet of you.
It's so funny. Oh my God.
so what was music the reason why you came to Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Is there anything
music,
in between that?
Kind of like, as in like why I wanted to come here.
No, as in like the time between like when you were 15 going to those parties.
Oh yeah,
And like
so much happened.
Yeah?
Like
Playing in bands
probably like
or-
like most pivotal things I'd say. Like I was in bands from like my last year of high school. But all through high school was like the weirdest experience. Like it was so cool because we had. I went to Takapuna Grammar, which is the same school that Lord went to as well. She was like third form when I was like in my last year.
Yep.
So yeah, our school like churned out a lot of amazing, talented people, a lot of like current New Zealand artists as well, like Finn Andrews from the Vales, the Czechs that were doing really well in New Zealand for a while as well. They were from my school. They really celebrated like the performing arts,
That's
which
cool.
is awesome.
That's cool, yeah.
Really, really dope school to go to. And so basically they would have like talent quests, arts awards night, songwriting competitions. They had the Mai-chan Songwriting Award, which was like the, he was like the guy that ran, what was it called? Play It Strange, like a school, full like nationwide school thing that New Zealand does for songwriters, which is awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah, really, really dope. And so basically all through school I would always enter the talent quest and all the songwriting awards. And it was really massive because when I did the first talent quest that I'd ever entered, it was actually my first ever like public performance
Yeah,
without
yeah.
anyone next to me because I'd only like 2 weeks before that played an open mic night when I was 14. Like I pretended I was 18 so I could play an open mic night with my
Yeah.
sister.
Hold on, at 14, you pretended you were 18.
Yeah, I put like heaps of makeup on, high heels, and like a really good push-up bra, and it worked. I was like, suck it.
No
But yeah.
14-year-old male
That's
could
ever,
pass
yeah.
for being over
Nah.
18.
Makeup, it's a wonderful thing. So yeah, I went in there when I was 14, did this song with my sister as a rehearsal, and then I don't know why I did that as a rehearsal because like I was supposed to play the guitar and do it by myself, so I should have just
Right.
got it by myself. But
We do weird things when we
got to
younger,
warm
yeah.
into it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember getting out in front of my whole school, which was fucking terrifying. Like the scariest audience still to this date ever.
Yeah.
And I won it, and it just changed everything for me. I was like, yo, what's up?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it just confirmed that, like, yeah,
You can
like,
do it.
This is what I'm supposed to do.
Just being in front of a crowd. It changes you, I reckon.
I was like, this is who I am. Like, I don't think I'd ever felt more myself and more, like, terrified. But once I was like, I remember that moment, like, midway through the performance and almost having, like, an out-of-body experience where I, like, looked down on myself for, like, a split second. And I saw the whole thing, and I was like,
Feels
I was
good.
like, this
cool.
is home.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm so scared of like school kids, and I had a horrible experience in high
Yeah,
school. So that was really scary, but it like liberated me as an entire person. And I was like, yep, done. And I did Stars in Their Eyes too, that fucking TV show.
Yeah.
Yay, I was like the youngest
I don't think
contestant in
Australia
the
had
first
that. We
season.
had-
What?
We had like Australian Idol kids and stuff. But
Yeah, it's like that.
a British show, isn't
Tonight,
it?
yeah, tonight, Simon, I'm going to be blah, blah, blah. You walk through the smoky doors and you come out as the artist you're going to impersonate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I did that when I was 16, and like everyone from school
Who'd you
saw
impersonate?
it. Dido. I did the song.
Random
that she
choice,
Did
yeah.
with, I didn't choose it. It's actually really funny. I was going to be Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Because
makes sense.
I'm all about the impersonations.
Oh, her
I love
voice.
it.
If you've heard her voice, it sounds like Britney. So.
I wanted to be Britney Spears or Celine Dion or Nora Jones because those are like the three voices that I can kind of impersonate. And
Me too.
then one of them was like, they called me when I was at school and they're like, we just heard Dido on the radio and we actually think that your voice would like do really well with that, and Britney's like not so hot in the media right now, so do you want to
Oh,
do
yeah.
that? And I was like, okay. So like they just chose it for me, and I had to like learn Dido's like vocal breaks, so that helped me to perfect my own like a lot, which was so cool. And I got to work with Suzanne Lynch, who's like one of New Zealand's like best singers, and she used to tour with like Cat Stevens. This is like
Yeah,
backing
right.
singer. She's amazing.
Crazy.
And so she trained me. Like,
Man, why
in
didn't
that
we
show.
grow up in New Zealand? It seems like there's a lot of
It was
opportunity.
actually dope.
Yeah,
Like,
sounds like they
Yeah.
support the arts a lot more.
Yeah.
It's cool. I don't know
You
so
guys
much
didn't
now.
get the option before you were born as to where you grew up? You didn't fill out that slip?
no.
Slip?
No.
That's weird. I got to choose.
You got to choose.
Yeah.
Was it like a pamphlet? Did you like tick a box or?
Yeah, they just asked you, like, where do you want to grow up? And I was like, America.
And that fucked up immensely because you're here now.
Well, now I've grown. So now I've grown. I'm here to spread my wings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. But what was I talking about?
Well, let's
More
go
coffee. Coffee.
from there. So you've played your first
I'm still,
performance.
even a while ago, I didn't realize you came from this musical of a background.
Yeah.
Like that it was in your parents and
I've been at the
you're
grind
always
since
around
I was 4.
Yeah, yeah.
No shit. Like, I would lock myself in my room and I'd, like, put certain costumes on. I'd, like, get my hairbrush and
That's
I'd be
where
like...
you go, so did I.
in front of, like, the mirror to, like, Britney Spears. And I was, like, probably 6.
And
when I used
for
to start
everyone
doing that.
listening, David's nodding in agreement. He used to do the exact same thing.
Still do.
Man, we could have hung out. Would have been rad.
Get lucky draw.
Yeah.
Certain costumes.
Hairbrushes, a microphone.
Tuck your penis and balls behind your leg.
Oh, my God.
Would you fuck me?
I'd fuck me hard.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I didn't realize you come from like that was kind of your background, and
Yeah.
I think it's super cool when parents are in like the music industry. Mm-hmm. It just gives you that kind of awareness of what goes on behind the scenes, behind the curtain.
That's
cool,
crazy.
like this is the ins and outs, especially being in somewhere like a radio station.
Yeah.
In the fucking 80s and 90s, like, because they were the hub of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Would've been
and
super cool.
it was so cool because my dad would get all this like free shit, right? So we get like to go backstage and meet some of like the biggest. I think I've probably met like most of New Zealand's biggest artists, like, and people that I would idolize as a young songwriter, like Big Runga, Stella. I don't know if you've heard of any of
I know Big
these
Runga,
homies. Yeah. Dave Dobbin, like all this stuff, like all these concerts, and I'd end up like.
Why do they all have funny names?
I don't know. We're Kiwis. We're weird. We're fucking weirdos. Seriously, you guys should know that by
They all
now.
sound like superheroes.
But yeah, it was cool. And I remember my dad. There was a band called Zed. Remember Zed?
Yeah, you showed
wanna
me
listen
them.
to them the other
Yeah,
night.
I know
Oh my
that
god,
track. That
it's
was
so
sick.
funny. Wow.
It's like, I've
Yeah.
heard this song.
And my father like got something to organize to have lunch with them because I wanted to be a drummer for a while when I was
Yeah.
like 10, which is like I think that phase is like just hit me again.
You were back in the drums the other
Thanks to
night.
you guys. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna be a drummer. I'm gonna be a drummer, and I just like tap all the time, and I was obsessed with it. And I was like, oh my god, can we like meet them? And he was like, yeah, we'll hook it up. And he literally got me into this hotel. We had like. It sounds so bad. It just made it sound really fucked up. Hotel. Dave,
I'm refraining.
It's you. I can like
I
telepathically
just-
hear us laughing, and I'm like, "Fuck you, man."
I
Now
just
you're
want
gonna
you
make
all
me
to
I
sound
didn't even
appreciate-
notice it until I see
It's him, it's fucking
his
him,
face.
I
I
swear.
just see his face go red.
He's like,
I just
"I'm
want you all
holding
to
it in,
appreciate
fuck."
that I am refraining.
Yeah, you're holding back.
We
Jesus.
appreciate it.
we
but
do.
I can still pick up on it, man. Like it's loud and clear.
You're raising the vibration level in here.
It's not the first artist that just
Oh my
underage
God.
chick was just magically
good.
turned up in the hotel.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Leave
be
it.
surprised.
Well, there you go. I thought you were refraining.
Yeah, what happened?
There goes the refrain.
Yeah.
Nope, not anymore.
Open the gate.
But yeah, the hotel restaurant, I guess we'll say that, was the restaurant lobby thing. And Zed were there. And I just remember being like, oh my God. I'm like 10 years old freaking out. Like, these guys are so hot, like trying to be cool. And I'm like, oh my God, like in my tomboy phase, like not looking super fun. But, I was 10, so I don't think they would have been keen anyway. But in my head, I was like, this is your shot, girl. Come on, get in there.
Get it together, girl.
This is the time to be a groupie, okay? Too many bad films, but anyway. Yeah, so I'm ended up like sitting there and the drummer is talking to me and I'm like, so what's your advice for like a young aspiring drummer? And he just talks to me for like half an hour about all this shit and I'm just like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, who gets the opportunity to ask people that they admire, like, directly to their face at lunch what to do? And like,
What did he say?
I don't even remember, man. Like, I think I was too
I'd be
lost in his
surprised
eyes.
if you did.
Yeah, I know, same.
I think I had a crush on the whole band. I think that's really why I was like super excited to be there, to be fair. I hope they don't ever see this, but if they do, what's up?
Share it. Share it.
So Davey
Yeah.
used to have a crush on the Backstreet Boys, and if
I'm
they're
not
if they're
surprised, I
listening,
can
that's
see that.
get in contact
No
with us.
They
fucking,
came out the other night.
A camera did something.
No fucking joke though. If the Backstreet Boys were like doing another fucking like full coming together show,
You'd be there.
I'd be
Fair and
front row.
square.
Be front row.
You'd be first in line.
I would go to the gym and work out just
Would
so
you
I
really?
was sexy for them.
Would you really?
Because that's my one fucking chance.
Well, you went to the Venga Boys recently.
Oh my god.
I went to, yes. Remember, no.
Oh, I see. One of
David
those
has what we
concepts.
would call a recreational drug habit.
I mean, yeah, alcohol's a drug, Mom.
So let's move on. So from there, obviously, you shortly after that sort of period, you came to Australia. Is that kind of like the next big jump, or was
Well,
there
I went
more?
to uni first and got a degree
Yep.
in music. Because I just didn't, like, I knew what I wanted to do, like, all through high school. I was just like, get me out of here. I just want to get in the real world. But then I think I was still quite, I'd say, socially conditioned and being like, you must go to school, then get a degree,
Yeah.
and, like, do the thing.
Yeah.
So I went and did a degree kind of because I thought I had to.
Right.
But I kind of almost
Yeah.
in a way wish that I just went out and just gunned for it.
See, that
but-
seems
can understand
that
that.
seems interesting to me, coming from like parents who are in the music industry. I feel like they would put less weight on the straight schooling system than most. Not
Yeah,
not necessarily
well-
for any reason that they're in an industry that, say, back then didn't
Yeah.
necessarily require that, so they could see that there's life outside the education system.
Well, it wasn't even really from them. I think it was me. Like,
Right.
I just was like, I'm going to go to uni. She's like, yep. And she never, like, really questioned it. She just thought I really
'Cause
wanted
you
to
thought
go.
you-
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
obviously,
Because
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I thought you had to do. And all the kids at school were like, yeah, we're all going to uni. So I guess I'll go to uni too. Because I think I was a bit like, I think a part of me knew that I still didn't really know who I was. I knew what I wanted to be, who I wanted to be, but I didn't
How
know.
to get there is the hard part, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're 18
Like you don't have a
and
clear path outlined to say, here's how you become a musician full time.
yeah.
It doesn't really. You can go to
Right?
to school to learn music.
It was like,
But it doesn't-
I'll buy time a bit till I figure it out.
Yeah,
And while
they
I'm
kinda-
figuring it out, I'll get better.
They teach
So-
you like stuff about the things that you do when you're, playing music and stuff, but it's not like these are the steps that you need to take. I just remember like when I was at TAFE, I did music industry skills. And yeah, like we learnt how to set up a room and how
Yeah.
to mix live and, how to do a recording sessions, but it's not and the business stuff was more about like make sure you have your taxes in order. If you're a business, you have to have a business name. It's not like if you want to do it, you have to schedule your time. You have to like set plans. You have to make sure you do things. This leads to this, leads to this. Or if you want to go this path, there's none of that. It's just like here's the things, and then
Yeah.
you got to put it all together yourself.
out the rest yourself.
It doesn't really help.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah. It's pretty like, I mean, yeah, I guess for me at that time, it was like, okay, what can I do to kind of like not have to be thrown in the deep end, not quite knowing who I am yet, but still like get to do what I love, which cost me like $40,000. But hey, still paying for that shit. But yeah, no, it was
everyone
worth
here-
it though.
You
It
went
was
to
awesome.
uni?
I went to uni for 1 year. So
What'd you
straight out
say?
of high school.
Did all three of you guys go to uni?
I
Guys
did
and
for- only
gals?
for 1 year.
Did we?
I did an honours degree.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Yeah, you
That
did
helped.
the worst of it. Yeah.
And now he's getting drunk on Tuesday at 9 a.m.
It's so good.
Hey, to be honest, a
And
lot
he
of
doesn't
people...
even know what day it is.
What do you mean? It's Tuesday. Oh, Wednesday. Sorry, Stu.
Just proving a point. Just proving a point.
So wait, you went to uni. What was your course?
So
Yeah.
first year out of high school, I went to a photography school, which was a fucking waste of time. It was fun though. It was a lot of fun. And then I did media studies at Deakin for 1 year, and then I realized that it was also a waste of time.
Yeah.
And then I went into music industry skills. I did part time for 1 year, and then I just did full time for 2 years, and then I finished that. But
Now, is this fair in saying I've got no actual evidence behind the comment I'm about to say, but this is my initial reaction. Whenever anyone tells me they went to Deakin, I'm like, that sounds like a fucking shit school.
no,
Is Deakin good?
No, mate.
No, it's
Really?
It's
Deakin.
really good.
It depends. Each
Yeah, it does
school
sound
has a
shit.
specialty.
Yeah, it's like I went to Deakin. It's like, cool, that sounds like a fucking living
Deakin's
room
good,
that
man.
someone gave a name.
You don't want that much.
Each
No.
school has a specialty. So like Melbourne's like the best for sciences. Melbourne University is
And
like,
business.
and business, and then like I know La Trobe's really good for accounting, and now their law's doing well. And Deacon's like number
Law
one for
school.
law. They're like the best with their law school.
Right.
And then RMIT was best for design and art.
Swinburne's
and
good for
shit
design.
house at literally everything else.
Yeah. Swinburne's good for design.
Yeah.
RMIT's good for photography.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they
So
do
that
have their
art- that
specialties.
fine
You know what I also found? The University of the Internet is good at everything.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, I
You have
went,
to filter through the bullshit.
Yeah.
I went
Yeah.
to the University of the Internet. Now I know the truth. That the Earth is flat and vaccines are the
Killing
boogeyman or
kids,
some
yeah.
shit. I don't know.
Yep.
There's
We'll get
definitely
into
a
your
podcast for
Reddit
another day,
history
though.
in another episode.
So good. Yeah.
So let's bring it back to the topic
Guest.
at hand.
What's
The guest,
up?
the
Oh,
reason,
shit.
the actual reason we're all
What's
here.
up, dude? What's up? Yeah. That's pretty much like, in a rough summary, yeah, high school was
So then you finished
fucking
school. So you did
crazy.
uni here. You finished uni.
Finished uni in Auckland, and then I was in a band for a while with one of my exes who really positively actually influenced me. I'll give him that. He was cool.
Hey, there's always positive to take
He
out,
was my
take out of
drummer.
everything.
Yeah, he was an incredible drummer actually, and I really admired watching him work like hours and hours a day at his craft. So and he just introduced me to a lot of different music, and I was always into like grunge and punk and rock and roll. Like I grew up on that, and pop. Like I'm literally like a yin yang with that. I'm split in the middle, and it bleeds into each other every now and then.
Yep.
So yeah, that was really cool. I lived with him for a while, and we just jammed all the time and had a sick band. And unfortunately, we broke up, but also fortunately, because everything happens for a reason. It's beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we already had like bought tickets to move to Melbourne together. So he's kind of the reason that Melbourne was like
Right.
brought to my attention. So he's been a massive influence, like in
Interesting.
really subtle ways. That
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
relationship. Yeah, because his brother is a musician and is really talented and lives here, and so he was like, "Yeah, you should like come to Melbourne. Like, we should go check it out. I reckon you'd love it." Because he just really wanted to move there because he like loves his brother. So he's like, "All right, let's go to Melbourne." So came, visited, fell in love with it, came back, bought a ticket to move, sent my resignation and everything. We broke up, and I was like, "What do I do?" And I just kind of sat with it for like one night, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go by myself and just
Sick.
like
Cool. That's,
do
Fuck,
this
that's
because
like a-
fuck it."
It's big.
That's a
It
jump.
was huge
right
for like a 23-year-old who like, yeah, just going through like really intense breakup and just being like, who the fuck am I? But knowing so much this is what I wanted to do, and I already
Yeah.
had the ticket, and I was like, I'll have to find somewhere else to live because we're gonna like move in with his brother, but I figured it out, and I came here, and I just kind of like remember saying to myself like on the plane, like when you land, you go hard and you never stop.
I
You
think
just go.
that's something like
Yeah.
you can be in any sort of situation. Not that I've been in a range of different situations. I haven't even been any close to that sort of situation. But wherever we are in life, we adapt. And like, there's something
It's
to
always a
say
choice.
about like you could be in any mind state.
Yeah.
You could be like, "Fuck, what am I going to do?" But you think about it, you take the time,
Just went with
and
my
you just
gut.
work it out. I think that's there's
Yeah.
something to that.
I'm interested to get into that. So it's, how did you find, was it a good thing, a bad thing? Had you even fucking thought about it? Because this is the sort of weird shit I think about. Changing, say you're just going through a breakup like that, you know, a lot of the things you'd come to know had been removed from your life in terms of change. A lot of the norms aren't there anymore. A lot of the comforts are different. And then to go and change cities, to go to Melbourne, cool. I'm going to restart from Melbourne, especially when you're going into going into be something like an artist or something in the creative field. Did you find moving cities and starting fresh was a good thing in terms of you were able to, I guess, see opportunities differently than if you were still back home in an old mindset? Was there any sort of parallels in terms of moving city and being able to move on and start a new chapter of your life
Yeah.
with other people that you didn't know, say, you know, where you came from, or just the
Totally.
little backstories, or just having to explain, hey man, I don't do this anymore, I'm actually an artist, and I'm saying like just those little kind of social adjustments.
In a way, kind of. But I mean, like, I'd always been at it, so I kind of just continued when I got here, but I just like shifted into like really,
Focus mode.
yeah, and just kind of like said to myself, just like fake it till you make it, dude. Like until you get your confidence back, no one fucking knows who you are. I just like really loved that because I love reinventing myself, and that's part of why I wanted to be an artist, because you just get to play all these different characters and live out every aspect of yourself and like really celebrate it. It's so cool. And so that was one of the biggest things for me. I was just like, this is so liberating. I can create whatever I want now with what I've experienced, but I still, like, I didn't do any massive changes on my sound or anything. I was still like working on like developing my sound from where I left off. But on the flip side to that though, it was also difficult to leave because my band just started getting like really tight. Even though like Dan left, we could have got like another drummer and we played an awesome gig. And like my band were amazing. Like the people that were playing with me were so fucking talented, really tight musicians. I still miss them a lot even to this day. So it was like, I was at that point where if I stayed in New Zealand, it would have been easier to get like perceived success quick. Not that you'd make really any money from it there. You could get like on the radio and probably like a household name pretty easy in New Zealand, but that's not what I wanted, and that's kind of what drove me to come to Melbourne. I was like, I can go quick here or like leave and build a fucking legacy. Like that song that Mareya's doing, like same, you know, and like, yeah, just kind of knew that like I wanted to do a long, big ass motherfucking thing.
You had to move on and evolve to the next chapter.
New Zealand was too small. I was like, this place can't hold what I want to achieve.
If you had have stayed there, you would have always potentially lived in like what if world, and that you can't.
I couldn't deal with that. I was like, I knew like my gut was like, this country actually can't offer you what you want to achieve. It's actually not big enough for what you want to do, and that was real intense for me.
I think that about Australia.
Yeah,
and same with Australia too. But for me, I was like, I'm 23. How am I going to go to LA? Like, even though like my end goal
Same
was
way
like
you went to
LA.
Australia, plane.
Yeah, but visas, you know what I mean? Like, I'm half Australian and Kiwi also. Like, it's so easy. And I was like, well, I always knew Australia was a stepping stone. I never knew this would be like, I never thought it would be where I'd stay. I was like, this is where I'll
where you go to
test
upgrade,
it out, grow,
upskill.
and then I take that to the States.
So what do you think has been kind of like the biggest learning? Has there been one thing? Has there been multiple things
So many
in
things.
Australia specifically? Or like since you changed that mindset into like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to change this mindset, I'm going to go to that. Was there one or a big thing that kind of, that you learnt from that told you, okay, I thought I know, but I didn't, you know?
Yeah, it's funny as I just thought that I just looked at the time and it's like 444. Love it. Always happens. So weird. Ben's
that a
like,
lucky
what
number?
the fuck are you talking about? Just some weird hippie voodoo shit. Sorry, we'll talk about it another time.
Okay.
He's like used to this shit. Making me bring in my crystal shrines and shit. Fucking hell.
She's like, I'm just going to put these here. They're just some
I'm
crystals.
gonna like spray my aura spray, but for real, it's good.
Do you have aura spray?
Yeah,
Oh my god, what's in it?
I have.
How do you
some in my
harvest
bag.
aura?
It's like
If you
not
got
like
Dave's aura
stealing
in
people's-
spray,
Grow
No,
an
it's
aura?
like
Dave's aura would be like
I
black.
will
Fucking
bottle my
dead. I'm
aura
fucking
and I
dead.
will sell it
It's
on the
not
Marshall Street
bottling
store.
Bottle your
aura.
sweat, Dave.
I will
it's like
bottle
a
it-
cleansing spray. Like
I need some of that. I got to
Zhuzhes
cleanse.
your
Actually, I
energy.
cleansed my aura a
I've
few
got it
weeks
here.
ago.
I'll like.
All right.
I'll
I had
zhuzh it
a
after.
bath with like some salts.
Yeah, dude.
I cleansed my aura.
This shit's powerful. This is like
can have a
some of my stuff in there, my mum's potion and my cousin's
Check the
essential
Marshall Street store
oils that
for,
we all made
David's
from
aura
scratch.
spray.
So
Really?
it's like 3 like crazy witches. Like
Wow.
yeah.
I need to try that.
Yeah, it's dope. I
down.
bring it to work every day, and like some people come up to me and they're like, "Can you spray me
my
with your
God.
abundance spray?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm like spraying people.
I
like,
need
oh,
some.
that's-
Shit.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
it's dope.
I want
Smells
to make
fucking
some.
awesome. It smells fucking awesome.
Davey,
by the
can
way.
you start making aura
I
spray?
will absolutely be making aura
Dude,
spray
for
as long
real.
as we sell it under Marshall Street, so you cop all the lawsuits.
I will not sell it and
I'm
distribute.
gonna bring that shit into my merch one day. I've already
Yeah.
talked to mum. I had like
Fuck
this
yeah.
vision, and I called mum, and I was like, "Mum, we're gonna do this
much.
crazy collab
So
with
if
your
you're gonna
potion."
come in a spray
and it's
bottle,
gonna
I
be
agree.
It's
sick.
gonna come in a
Yeah,
tin for
I've
some
already
reason.
had
I'll back
like
that in.
all the intel.
Awesome idea.
100%.
Yep.
That's scary.
Yep. It's gonna be dope. Yep.
It's just
I
my
agree.
bathwater.
But Yeah. How did we get onto bathwater?
We're
What's
just having our
going
own
on?
conversation.
Sorry,
What were we talking about?
Oh my
we're
god!
making the future over here.
I wonder, as a viewer or
So
a
good.
listener, which conversation you would have been listening
That
to.
would have just been a jumbled mess, and
I'm,
then
like,
they would have just
laughed
heard.
out.
We'll see if we can
Yeah,
split that one to
great.
left and right to
Oh
give
my
two different
God, that's
conversations
too
for each
funny.
headphone.
But yes, hey, cool. Can we sell some Marshall Street Aura?
I'm not selling your stinky bathwater.
Get some
Can we get
dust
back on
from the
track?
attic.
Any big things that, like,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, what do you got
that's
coming
right.
up?
Okay, so when I...
no, not that.
Oh, we're not
When I
wrapping
moved
this
here-
up. We're not there yet.
That's right, the pivotal moment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Lol.
that.
Actually, yeah, huge. When I first came here, I met up with someone who actually my ex linked me with when we first visited. So it's funny how much he's linked me, and it's really random. Thanks, dude. You're a ledge. So, what was I fucking talking about? Jesus Christ.
Pivotal moment.
Yeah,
scribe.
okay. So I met this guy called Lockie, and he's a really dope musician in Melbourne. Fucking shreds the guitar like a legend. And he wanted to start a Fleetwood Mac tribute band to raise money for Beyond Blue, because for him at that time he was going through some stuff, and it was really important to him to do something and give back to the community for mental health. And so I caught up with him, and he was like, "Do you want to do it?" And like I was the last person to join in, so I was like, "Yep, cool. Like I'm gonna come in and be Christine," even though like I feel like more connected to Stevie.
Yeah.
I'm fucking keen. Like this is sick. And we sold out our first show at Thornbury Theatre.
That's huge.
And it was
like a
amazing.
500 cap venue,
It
isn't
was huge. Like
Yeah,
imagine that. Like that was my first 6 months moving here. And like I was always on the grind back home as well, but like that was probably like the funnest thing I'd done. And yeah, and I did like half of Stevie's stuff. We kind of like did half and half. So I did get to like do a bit of Stevie's vibe and all that. And I reckon that night was just like so just anchored in this like that superpower vibe that like I had when those first talent quiz came through and all that stuff. And
You harness the energy.
yeah, and the best thing about it, dude, is the sound guy that we got was Lance Crive, and he actually worked with Stevie for like 10 years.
That's
He's
awesome.
worked with Michael Jackson and Madonna. He went on the Dangerous tour as a guitar tech for Michael.
Right.
Crazy.
That's
This guy
sick.
knows his shit. Like he's an
Yeah.
old like
Yeah.
rocker from the stage,
Yeah.
man. Like
Yeah.
he knows his shit. Like he's got so much knowledge, and he's really close friends with Stevie still to this day. Like they just caught up the other day.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he's amazing. And I was like kind of unaware of that situation throughout like most of the day, because I was just like kind of getting everything ready and trying to like
Yeah,
not
focused
freak
on
out
yourself.
and being too nervous. So I was aware of it, but like not really aware of it. And then after the show, he like comes up to me and he like pulls me aside and he has this like little chat, and it was just like really lovely. He's like, you know, like I recognize something in you and like someone that I know really well. And I was like, oh, who's that? Like fucking idiot. He's like, Stevie, you dick. I was like, what? And like that, it's like what you were talking about, how words affect people.
Yeah,
on that.
with Jack the Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing. Like that moment was also like one of those things where like, holy shit, you just
Yeah.
said that to me? Like the hell? And then he like kind of almost mentored me for a while. Like a few months after that, he would invite me to all these shows, and he'd like show me like little things he'd do like on the sound desk, and I'd just be chilling with him and just sponging everything he'd say, all the stories, and I would just ask him about the industry, and he would just tell me all these cool things about Stevie, and it was just really random. Like this just keeps happening in my life. Like I
Yeah.
just grow up and I just end up around these incredibly influential people. And
But that's
I'm like,
what
the
happens
fuck?
though. Like the more that you
great.
are around people that you want to, associate yourself
Yeah.
with, the more
The more
likely
it happens.
you are to
Totally.
associate with other people
Yeah.
that are in the same
It's
wavelength.
not by accident.
No.
Yeah.
Like the actions and choices you make will dictate what happens down the line in your life. You know, by you putting yourself in the situation for these things to unfold, by playing in bands with people. When if your ex-boyfriend goes, "Hey, link up with this person in Melbourne," by you being open to that, not
Correct.
just being a dick. Go, no, fuck you. Like
Yeah.
this is how organic
Or
doors
even,
open.
even being on the fearful side.
Yeah, but
You know,
by being
like-
open, like a lot of
Yeah, you can close yourself off because you can say like, you have that classic imposter syndrome. Like, I don't think that I'm the right person to do that. And just doing that, you might be right, but like you said, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Just by putting yourself in the that you might realize that you're not the right person.
Yeah.
But if you didn't put yourself in that situation in the first place, you won't actually know. You're just
Yeah.
telling yourself that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think for me too, like if there's one thing I know about my psyche, and probably I think for everyone we probably have the same thing, is like whatever you fear is probably the thing that you should go for the most. Because everything that I've like done that I've been so fucking scared of, like moving here by myself, not knowing anyone, having to build this whole new network to support me, and then just getting out of those, like, it's just the first few months I moved here was pretty like, whoa, but
I think
I've always known that I'm going to do it anyway, so that
yeah,
inner confidence like kind of drove it through.
There's something about the first time someone is either by choice or not by choice in life forces them to go through it. But the first time you go through a really unsettling period or whatever you know has been stripped from you, or there's a big change in your life and a drastic change, and I think when you come out of that, it either goes two ways. One, it breaks people, or two, you realize that life is actually malleable and you can move it and you can touch it and you can change it. Like if you're not happy with your life, you can change it.
Yeah.
You are 100% in control of everything. And like I think, I've learned that lessons through disaster, when it's kind of when life takes what you thought was in front of you out of it.
When something breaks you, that's even another two-way street.
Yeah.
You know, it can break you and it can affect you in a really bad way,
Yep.
or you can learn from it as well. So, you know.
Or you write an album about it.
Definitely. But I mean, but some people
So
don't.
good.
Some people don't come out of that. Like for some people, when
It's
life
just
kicks them,
crumbling.
it keeps them down. Yeah, and then they just go into this, victim mentality of that they can't actually do anything because they're just reacting to life. They're not actually the person in charge of their fucking life.
Yeah.
But for me, it was when I lost a job in the wind turbines and that was taken from me, and I was back in Melbourne. It's once you're like, fuck.
Yeah,
You've had everything stripped from you, and you can rebuild yourself in another city, in another industry, in another career. 5 years
people
down
never
the
get
track, you're like, fuck, you can do it. Like, and like that's giving me the power. I know now, if anything happens, like, fuck, man,
So you can accomplish
I'll just go.
anything
I can
and-
start another fucking legacy, whatever I want. In 5 years, I'll still be building that. Like, kind
hold
of
your
gives you
own
some
shit.
perspective on stuff. Yeah.
It's huge, especially when you're like in your early 20s. And that was the first time for me that I felt like really free. Like I could really explore who I was, because I wasn't living with anyone's parents. Even when I lived with my partner, we like lived with his dad. So it was like I either lived with my mom or like him and his dad. So that was the first time me moving out of home, like entirely on my own. And I was like, this is fucking sick.
Yeah. You can do what you want. You can stay up as late as you want.
Yeah,
you do your
I
own
did
shopping.
anyway. But I was always
You can
writing
eat
at,
fruit
like, 4
roll-ups
a.m.
for breakfast.
Oh my god.
Yep.
It's also like getting your first car. When you can
Kinda.
drive your car
Yeah.
and you have the freedom to go wherever you want.
Yeah. But then I
Similar thing,
partied
like,
really
you know.
hard for
Yeah,
like, the first 2
we went
years
to
when
the
I
drive-through
moved here.
Bottle-O and drive-through Macca's. First place we rented
Yep.
the car.
Oh god, live
I didn't
myself.
have those experiences in terms of
Partying.
the first thing I must do. I was just
Drinking
like,
in the week.
I can go to my mate's house whenever I want. Like, that was cool
Yeah.
enough.
There's like an arc there. It's like you move out, you get a house with like maybe your housemates, like a couple of dudes that you've known for a while. You drink, you party, then you get a girlfriend, and then the girlfriend gets serious, and then you move in, and it's like you're living with your parents again. You can't just walk around. You can't just walk around naked anymore.
Depends on the relationship, I suppose.
You're not-
The time-
Wow.
You're not allowed to eat an
Don't
entire
think
box of
it's
shapes
like I was
before
with my
dinner.
dad.
I mean, you are.
Why?
Why aren't you allowed?
Clean your room. Do the laundry. I mean,
Wow. This
comes
is-
full circle.
I think we need a podcast on Dave's.
I think we've just
Oh.
touched on some
Hard.
underlying issues here.
I remember when fruit
He
roll-ups
needs some of
were a
my
breakfast
spray
meal,
right now.
and I fucking miss it.
Oh, it's amazing.
So
Before we delve deeper into
beginning to wrap up, where to from here?
Well, now's the exciting time because the next 12 months is like huge for me. I'm like only now, after kind of like going through a huge journey and like a massive spiritual journey and finding out who the fuck I really am and like really knowing that.
Could you sum that up before we go into the future?
Whoa, that's a big one.
I think
that
it's a
was
journey.
it. Yeah,
I think it's a journey we're on. I think knowing that, again, my experience from talking to people, that sense of being comfortable in yourself, that's a journey in itself. Like
Yeah.
it's not a destination. The destination is
Yeah, it's a
recognizing
journey.
that you're on the journey.
100%. Yeah. And I think like for me, I had this huge awakening when I was 24. I stopped drinking, like all that stuff. So like I just
Most people here, we all had
hence
similar.
the, but I
experiences.
mean coffee is
poison
pretty
anymore.
much just as fucking bad. But yeah, I think that was a huge thing for me as well. But for now, like what I'm gonna do now that I have that confidence and I know what my sound is and I know like what my abilities are, where I want to dip into what genres, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny because I had to plan to do a whole nother album like only up until 3 months ago, and I wrote a whole new one and I was like, no, this is the one that people need because it's like the end story of like all this 5 years that I've just gone through, another crazy like life experience that has like been hugely amazingly influential on my music. But yeah, and just wrapping up that and getting that album, I was like, nah, I think I'm gonna put that out because that's like when I've found, I've really found myself and I'm letting go of that and I'm really like empowered now, and like I can tell the story later, but like right now I feel like the collective needs that message. I need that. And now I'm doing that. I just want to do like a single a month. When I was talking to you guys, I was like, fuck yeah, that's definitely a good idea because I've got so much material. I've also just locked in a collab EP with my friend Matt, who's an amazing EDM producer, and I'm top lining like 4 songs, and we're doing a 4-track EP with that, plus my album I want to get out by end of summer, plus straight after my album I'm gonna drop a EP as well, another EP that I'm already planning.
Jesus.
So
Yeah.
I'm actually
Nice.
I think Friday the 13th my debut the first single
I've
off
seen
the
that
album
movie.
will drop. So next Friday I'm
The
gonna
first
drop.
single, did you say?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
And everyone can find it on Spotify, iTunes, all streaming
all
platforms.
streaming platforms.
What do they
yeah.
look for? How do they spell you?
Mareya, Mareya.
Yep.
And the song will be called I Will Not Follow. And it's the first single off my album, which is Return of the Feminine.
Nice.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of like,
Where did the feminine go?
well, she was never gone, but she's reintegrated in a new way.
So have you seen Austin Powers 2 where he loses his mojo?
It's fucking guy. I love it.
That's
I was
a-
like,
Oh my
the
God.
timing, so good.
It's amazing.
I love
and,
you, dude. You're great.
And
I love
on
it.
that note, I think that's us for another Marshall Street podcast.
Yes.
Mareya, thank you
Thank
very
you for
much.
joining us.
Thank you.
You've
That
been
was
in
awesome.
all day today. We did a live film clip
That was so cool.
earlier,
I can't wait to
We
see
will
it.
release
which will come out soon.
hopefully.
People will see it when it's out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll probably see you around here very soon.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna just stick around for
Infiltrate.
it.
We'll see you
She'll
Monday
get a job
morning
here
when we
soon,
open
so,
up.
yeah. She'll be at our
It's
morning
like I'm just like
meetings or
sleeping on this
something.
couch. Fuck, man.
We'll just get you
Get
a key
out.
cut.
Oh my god, yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks.